This is a real exciting time. If you sat and listened to the news all the time, it's about the gloom and doom and the best days of America are behind us. And that's not right. So, the good news is here today is this plant creates $2.5 billion worth of value in the next 5 years, in the 5th year, and over the 5 years creates over $10 billion worth of value. I'm going to show you how you take the GDP, agricultural GDP of Brown County, which is a great county, by the way, at $248 million, and you explode that 4 times very quickly. It's not something that's easy to do. It takes a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of help from the community of Aberdeen and the tri-state area to help add the infrastructure to this company. But it's very exciting, and I think there are many counties. If you decide you don't want it, you call me, and I've got places that I can park this in many places. It take about 10 minutes. So it'll take longer than that to move the plant, probably. Okay? This is what the outside of the plant is going to look like. I think you need to go by and look. You're going to see a metamorphosis and see it really change. It has changed in the 3 years that I have watched it. Okay? If we look at just a thumbnail sketch, NBP is a limited partnership. It's led by general partner Song from Minnesota. It is the president and CEO of the company is Mr. David Palmer, the pretty good-looking guy sitting in the back of the room. I've worked with Dave in several different occasions in the meat industry. The meat industry is a pretty small fraternity, and we all know each other very well. And I'm proud to say that I've worked with Dave and find him a valuable colleague. He's trustworthy, and I've known him to be a hard worker all of his life. And I think he'll do an excellent job in leading this venture in your community. So I'm say that without hesitation. NBP is a mid-sized regional packer. They don't kill 6,000 head a day. They kill 1,500 head a day, and they have not exploded the resources available in the community, either from a cattle standpoint or a labor supply standpoint. A 6,000 head a day plant, like some of the mega plants, would require 5,000 or 6,000 people. So that's not possible in Aberdeen. The plant is a one-shift facility. It will harvest between 400 and 500,000 head of cattle a year. Initially, it will employ 561 people. That will grow to about 660 people. We estimate a multiple of 8.5 in just Aberdeen, so that would get about 5,600 people indirectly employed in Aberdeen, and another 2,200 people from the agricultural community in the tri-state area. Total number of people, 8,300 people. 8,296, I think, is the number. NBP employees will receive a generous benefits package and a good living wage. The median income in NBP fits the median income in this area very well. In fact, it may lead it some. The plant will have a full value-added capability and export potential. That means that it's not dependent upon just the beef market. It's dependent upon the ground beef market, the export market, there are other markets. It will also give them the capability to value add the cattle in the region that you don't have today. You have a state-of-the-art food safety, product traceability, and environmental management have all been incorporated and built into the plants. Plants that were built in this country in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, as most of them were, don't have those capabilities because you can't add them to them. So this plant genuinely has food safety technology and traceability technology that other plants don't. It's a new plant, and we don't get many new plants in this industry. NBP will boost the Brown County GDP from $248 million to over $1 billion. Okay? Now then, if you look at this area, the tri-state region, the thing that should impress you in this is that this is an agricultural basin that is the envy of many countries in the world. Brown County has the capability of producing 21 to 22 million bushels of corn per year. That's all of the corn, all of the cattle, all the 500,000 cattle in this plant, that's all of the corn that they would require to eat. Of course, they're spread out. If you look at where the feedlots are, they're spread out through North Dakota, through Minnesota, and through South Dakota. The cattle in this plant would consume 6.9 billion pounds of grass. All beef is forage finished. So the beef that comes from this plant is going to consume lots of South Dakota grass, lots of North Dakota grass, and about 2 acres worth of corn and soybeans for each animal. Okay? Now then, what do we do? How do we measure the economic impact of cattle that are already here? Well, if you look at what the transportation, if it's not fed to the cattle here, it's transported out of the state, out of the region. Okay? Each bushel of corn that is produced in South Dakota has a basis fee or a transportation cost to haul it out of the state of 70 cents a bushel. Used to, corn was only worth $2 a bushel. Now it's worth $6.50 to $7 a bushel. But transportation costs have been grossly exaggerated and grossly inflated as well. So each mile we pay $4.50 to $5 a mile to have the commodities hauled out. So for each head that we feed here, they consume 50 bushels of corn. That's $35 a head that stays here in this economy. We do the same thing for soybeans, for wheat, all the way, you get down here to the slaughter cattle, it's $50 a head. So that's what it costs, is $50 a head to haul one steer from here to Dakota City, or from here to Schuyler, Nebraska, which is the next alternative market. All of these figures, if you add them up, that's $266 a head, or times 463,000, the projected slaughter, that's $260 million, or $206 million a year that stays in South Dakota, that stays in Aberdeen. The value added, we're going to go through in greater detail, but that's $178 a head. A lot of that gets passed back to the genetics, back to the cattle feeder, because we have superior cattle to keep those cattle, to buy those cattle into the plant. The packer pays those feeders for those.